Welcome to the first edition of Mysterious Disappearances. I hope you find these as interesting as I have. So let's get started. Ray Grico was the district attorney of Center County, Pennsylvania. He was considered a good man with a tough reputation, and he was very good at his job and was considered a badass. Certainly, he made many enemies during this time, which makes solving this even harder. On April 15th, 2005, he phoned his girlfriend and told her he was going to take a drive in the countryside and would be home soon, but he was never to return. There is speculation that he was forced to make the call under duress. The police later found his car outside an antique store. There were no signs of a struggle, and everything seemed to be missing except for his cell phone. They started a search and monitored his credit accounts, but there was no sign of activity either. His laptop was retrieved from a nearby river, but was too damaged to retrieve any files at the time of his disappearance. The case he was working on would come to be known as the Penn State sex abuse scandal. But oddly, in '98, he refused to press charges against the coach, despite having more than enough evidence. He was possibly stacking the evidence to be the most he could judiciously. Many officials have tied the two together often. Here is another interesting fact about the laptop that was found in the river. It seems it was thrown there by whoever killed him, but when searching the DA's home computer, it was found on the search history. Someone was looking up how to fry and how to wreck a hard drive and water damage to a notebook. Now that really makes you suspicious. From the start, investigators have considered three possibilities. Ricker committed suicide, fell victim to foul play, or deliberately walked away. 2011 missing DA linked to Sandusky case. Investigators said there's no evidence that Gricker's disappearance had anything to do with Sandusky's crimes. Gricker was a private and a quiet man. He was spotted the same day that he went missing with a woman who was not his girlfriend, and there was cigarette ash found near his car, and he was not a smoker. Friends and colleagues recalled him being distant in the weeks that led up to his disappearance. They said, even if he chose to make himself go missing, it sounds like something was terribly wrong that could cause a drastic change in his life. There's something wrong if he Googles how to fry a hard drive. Did he Google it? Did someone else Google it? Was he threatened? Did he do something and is trying to cover it up? It's just not normal to Google that. Matt Rickard, the former investigator who had been in charge of the investigation for several years, thinks that hard drive is the key to cracking the case. He said he's still holding out hope that someday technology will allow investigators to recover the damaged data. I think there is something out there, whether it's evidence or a person, there's something that could lead us to something, he said. In all honesty, somebody destroyed the hard drive, and there was a reason. We have very few solid leads, and the biggest one could be contained on that hard drive. In 2011, when former Penn State defensive coordinator Jerry Sandusky was arrested and charged with sexually abusing boys, it was revealed that it was Gricker who decided not to charge Sandusky when the first crime came, forward in 1998. Gricker cited a lack of evidence. The intrigue already simmering in Gricker's case exploded. Sleuths desperately tried to find a link between the two cases, but investigators said there was no evidence. But some have stuck to the homicide theory, suggesting that Gricker was an enemy of mob-like gangs in central Pennsylvania who were upset at his drug and corruption prosecutions. Cyril Rett, a forensic pathologist, said he considered writing a book about Gricker, his ties to the Sandusky case, and whether it led to suicide. But he abandoned that idea when it came clear there just wasn't enough evidence. I don't think it's a great stretch, Weck said. He was one of those guys with a very strong sense of justice and professional discipline, and in light of what evolved and came to be disclosed, I speak as a forensic pathologist who's done so many suicides over the years, and what can bring someone to that point is pure conjecture, not based on any factual knowledge. Plus, Weck said, if it was a suicide, I don't understand how they never recovered a body. Bob Buhner, a former district attorney in Montour County, Pennsylvania, who was Gricker's friend, has never accepted a suicide or a walkaway theory. He believes his colleague was killed. Buhner has doubts that 10 years later, state police can recover from what he considers a bungled start to the case. It didn't seem like there was any overall game plan that made sense in terms of a systematic investigation. Buhner said one of the things I'd asked them to do from the first couple weeks is now impossible to do. To do a hotel motel canvas looking for the mystery woman seen with and then I'm sorry, and then match the names with photo IDs which police have access to. Buhner said those records are now gone and his faith in finding Gricker is dwindling. There is always a remote possibility that we might never have an answer, said Lieutenant James Emick, who leads to the investigation for the Pennsylvania State Police. We may never know what happened to him, but hopefully someday we will have the answers to at least some of the questions.